Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us with our Aargh webinar. Our promise to you is better resident service with less effort and fewer complaints. So let's get right into it. The problem for property managers is resident service efficiency. And when we don't have resident service efficiency, we have all those things that you guys are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Our two products, Resident Workflow and Resident Responder, helps property management firms with first contact resolution. So the idea is that you touch a resident request as few as times as possible and as little time as possible. We think very much about resident service in terms of minutes. Since 2021, we've saved about 1.25 million property management minutes, 2 to 3 minutes at a time, either creating service issues or having history notes attached. The product that Pete's going to demo for the rest of this time is called Resident Responder. It is a Microsoft application. The whole point is to create draft emails for you to review and send to your residents. If you get 60 to 100 emails a day, then you're in the range of about 2 hours a day of savings because AI is drafting all those emails for you.
So this is Resident Responder. I'm sure most people have used AI for some kind of work at work. They post an email in there and say, hey, can you review the email and make sure better? Resident Responder is our first product around that and generating responses. So let's have a look at Responder here and how it lays out. It's broken into 3 sections, so 1, 2, and 3. So the first section here is where the email goes. You can copy and paste emails there if you're a Gmail user. If you're an Outlook user, you can drag and drop emails right into here. The bottom part here is the response that AI generated for that email. In here, you can also edit things, so we can edit. And then the right-hand side is our chat, and we call it Chat Agent Ashley. This is where you can chat with the AI and modify your questions. It also talks back to you and lets you know what's happening and everything else. The next thing on this thing here I want to talk about is response. Is this little 5 out of 5. This is AI coming back and telling us how confident it is in its answer of responding. 5 out of 5, it knows it answered all the questions, it had all the answers, it's comfortable with the answer. When I see 5 out of 5, the answer is usually pretty correct. When it gets 4 out of 5, it's usually missing a piece of information or it's not exactly sure it answered the right question. 3 out of 5, it usually means it's missing a bunch of information. So it doesn't have information on what to do about that dog or what to do about an eviction. You just got to watch the rating and it helps you kind of decide how much effort you may have to do to make sure you're ready to go. So the email came in basically about a copy of bylaws, asking for a copy of bylaws at Aspen Greens. The responder responded back with, hey, Big Jeremy, which is kind of funny. That's kind of odd. It also came back and pointed them to a website. So the question is, how did it know this information? How did it know to answer, hi, Big Jeremy, first of all? And also, how did it know about this website to go to for documents? Well, this is where training comes involved. I'm sure you've heard about training for AI. Train like a property manager. But we can only go so far because every company runs differently. Your company runs different than your competitors down the street or across states. What we've done is we built tools and made it simple for you to add more details to it so it learns like you guys do. We do it in 3 different ways. So we do it through prompt management, training emails, and managing policies. So prompts and policies are very similar. The difference is on prompts, it's a much smaller piece of information. So if I look here on this first one, you can see it basically talks about arrears and and then redirects them to a website so they can fill out a form. You can see that it's company-wide and it's very short. And that's the idea of prompts. Prompts were made for a couple sentences, just bang out a quick policy or big, hey, this is how I want you to respond all the time to this one type of thing. You can see here, we have a quick noise complaint policy on how to do it. Call the city, basically get the case number and send it back to us. So very, very simple. Now, these other 2 prompts here this is where Big Jeremy comes in, as user-specific prompt. Again, this prompt is only used by me, no one else in the company. Where these ones here are company-wide, where anyone in your company that has an email related to complaints is going to get this. It's going to look at this policy and it's going to use it with a response. Where this one's only for me. So that's the idea of prompts. The other thing, like I said, is policies are very similar. We have a policy here. We can see it's a pet policy. We can see the big policy. It's much larger, and the policies are made for much larger documents. So you might paste in your 2-page document on your office procedures around rent collection, or maybe you have an act, a state act or a province act that you need to add in here. This is where the bigger documents come in. Currently, right now, it's just copy and paste. We are working on an import option so you can import the bigger documents. The other thing about policies is you can be property specific, so you can go all properties, or you can type a particular property in there. So it could be for Maple Street Apartments is only this policies for that. We also give you the ability to organize your policies, so that if you start getting more and more policy, you have a way to organize them and look at them. Our last area is learning from previous emails. So if this email is exactly the way you want it, all we do is we hit add to learning, and then what happens is that email shows up under view training emails that were perfect. This email is, you can kind of see where it says condo papers. That's where I got it from. So let me show you the drag and drop feature now. So if I go in Outlook here, I got a bunch of emails here from Garth Anderson. And if you've ever done demos with me, Garth Anderson's our test tenant that we use all the time. I got 6 emails from Garth. So I'm gonna take all 6 and just drag them on there. And right away, you'll notice that a bunch of them turn orange. That's telling us that it's thinking and going through. Let's talk about the speed of AI. AI is not lightning fast. It has a lot of data to go through. So it has to look through its own database. It has to look through our database. It has to look at Rent Manager. It has to look at our policy procedures. It has to look at our past emails. And then it has to formulate an answer on top of that. So AI is not the quickest. So what we've done is we highly recommend dragging multiple emails over to the system, 20, maybe 30 seconds to generate all 6 emails, and they're all done and they're ready to work through. You drag a bunch, let it generate, and then you process at the end. Our first email we generated here is about that there's a loud music complaint for noise. Right away, we can tell that on the right-hand side, we can kind of see how the AI responded back to it. So it located the record by email. It found Garth in the database. He lives at Boardwalk Apartments. We already know per instructions that there's a city, they should call the city with a complaint and request. Pretty sure the answer is correct. So let's look at the answer. So again, thanks for letting us know. We're sorry for the late music. We asked him to contact the city with a complaint. We also asked him for the bylaw case number. And if you'd like, we can also reach out to the tenant across the hall directly and let me know if you want to follow up. Maybe we don't want them to actually ask that question here, right? No, that's not a perfect answer, right? And that's not how we want to answer. So all we do is just delete that. Now the email is perfect to what we want. We can hit add to library, add to learning, so it adds it to the learning for future uses. Also, now that email's been dragged in here, we can hit reply all, and it pops up an email right from Outlook. This is the email that Garth sent me from my drag from Outlook, and this is the response. And hit send. Really, really simple. It's same from Outlook. It goes in your sent items. And this is where you can do your to tenant Aargh, and you can send it to Aargh, and now it'll go into history notes for this tenant in Rent Manager for you automatically. All right, so hit send and it's done. Let's work on my next example here. Let's close that one off, so you don't get confused. So session 3, we asked about a dog for the apartment here. The AI came back with, it found the property, it found the unit. It doesn't, we know that the company doesn't allow dogs because our pet policy. Again, I go to it's 5 out of 5. So that means it's probably a good chance it's going to be done. Perfect. So we don't want to allow this, basically, we don't allow to have a request for exception. Take that whole sentence right out of there. And again, hit to add the library and reply all. I can't stress enough by how much adding emails and policies and prompts to the system makes it stronger and faster and better and smarter. So let's look at the next email. So again, this one talks about lease expiries. Interesting. Okay. So again, it retrieved the records from Rent Manager. It picked up the move-in date. It has no move-out date, right? And the rent is sent to monthly in Rent Manager, and there's no fixed lease records, which is interesting. That may indicate an error. Maybe I didn't enter the leasing information. Maybe my leasing agent didn't enter it. Maybe I forgot to. That may be indication I might want to go check Rent Manager to see if there's there should be a lease or not, but maybe there's not supposed to be. So let's go assume there's not supposed to be, and it's not an error, it's just that basically there's not supposed to be one there. So again, we go back here, our records begin on March 1st. There's no record of move out or lease end date. So there's not a fixed lease at this time. Perfect. So it sounds like, and then we're also offering to send the documents to them if they want. Perfect. Add to learning, reply all, and we're done. We go to next email. You start talking about vacancies this time. So vacancies here, again, it looks up the record, it finds the unit 4A is available, it figures out how much rent is, and then responds back in that method. We have no policies on how we deal with applications or how we do with tenant. If you do, and I'm sure everyone does, you can easily put that in a policy, paste it all in there. Again, it doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be detailed, just copy out the material that you have and paste it in there. We come back with a policy here at 4A, we know market rent's at 800, and then basically asking if you want to hold the unit and begin with leasing information. Perfect. We hit add to library, so it's future use of it, and then reply all, and it's done. Next email I got here is on a stove on a service ticket. It finds the records. It says, hey, we got to create a ticket here. We look here, and then basically, I'm sorry, this stuff's not working. Well, I'll get someone to look into it. Which days or times work best for us to send the maintenance this week? And that sounds perfect. Again, reply all. But this time, when I hit reply all, it goes back to the email like we said. But this is where a great time would be where if you can do type 2 ticket, we now can add the ticket. Now we got a service ticket created directly for this service ticket, and now it's ready to go. And then our final example we have here, guys, is about studying balances. So again, it runs in Rent Manager, it looks at the balance, it knows it's 850, right? And then goes back to the unit. So we can go back to thanks for return, your outstanding balance 850, right? And if you want to provide a recent statement or payment option, let me know what you prefer. Add to learning, reply all, and we're done. We just knocked out basically 6 emails even through a demo in probably under 8 minutes. Now I have one more to show you guys. So I'm going to copy and paste this email. This email is in French. I don't speak French. We were working on the thing that have multiple languages. So if you hit generate email here and give it a sec, again, AI is not the fastest thing here in the world, but it is going to go generate this response. Perfect. So it comes back with an email French, and it comes back a French response perfectly well. Two things under the help. So first of all, our feature request tab is right here. So this is where you can give us some feedback. So if you're working with a different platform, not Rent Manager, or if you're using the software and you realize, hey, I wanted to be able to do this, or hey, it's not really working the way I thought it would work, or if you have a prompt problem, you can maybe put that in here too, and we'd be happy to respond back and let you know how to fix it and work through that. And the other feature that we have in our help, so here we have information on how to get started. We have some videos, as well as learning how to train it and everything else with email learning and prompts and policies. So give a little bit of help when you guys are on your own and you're having some problems.
Thank you, Peter. To get this in your hands, all you have to do is go to arghsoftware.com/getresponder. You download it. It downloads to your desktop, double click, and then it installs a bit more stuff, and you're off to the races. You're literally going to be having an AI helping you with draft emails in kind of like 5 minutes. Very powerful and very simple, as Pete was showing you. So thank you very much, everybody. We hope you take a chance on the software, have a look at it. And again, we look forward to your feedback. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.